friends, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be doing some fall baking, as fall is my favorite season of the year. And today I'm going to be making molasses cookies, but not just any molasses cookies. I'm going to be using these festive fall cookie cutters, including a pumpkin and a maple leaf. I have been baking for a number of years, and I grew up doing a lot of baking at home. So I don't always follow a recipe to the nine. Normally I'll start with the baseline ingredients and then I'll make adjustments as I'm going to get the right combination of these different dry and wet ingredients to make the perfect cookie. So just to begin, I'm going to outline the materials, both the utensils and the ingredients that you will need to make these cookies. So first, to go through the utensils, you will need a spatula and a mixing bowl. You can see that mine are orange because orange is my favorite color, so it's very festive for this time of the year. You will also need measuring cups. I suggest having two, one for your wet ingredients and one for your dry ingredients, so it's easier to mix together your cookie batter. You will also need measuring spoons, including teaspoons and tablespoons. You will also need a rolling pin, and this is used to roll out your cookie batter before you cut out your different patterns. You also need to have a baking sheet with parchment paper that you will use to cook the cookies in the oven. To talk about the ingredients that you will need, I use molasses. Obviously, this is one of the main ingredients you need for these cookies. I also use different types of flour. So for these particular cookies, I do think white flour is good for a nice texture. So I sometimes like to do a mixture with whole wheat flour to make the cookies a little bit healthier. So I might do a 50-50 mix of white and whole wheat. Sometimes I'll also buy oat flour because this is probably the healthiest rather than doing a mixture of white and whole wheat. Because if you try to do 100% whole wheat, they can be very tough and fibrous and just not the right texture for something known to be sweet as a cookie. You will also need butter. I have taken mine down from the fridge and it's warming up before I begin to use it. And I also recommend having some eggs. Eggs are really important in baking because they are protein, and the different proteins made up of amino acids help to bind the different ingredients together in the cookie so that it holds together during the baking process. And just remember, a little bit of baking soda goes a long way. Sometimes I like to use cane sugar in place of regular white or brown sugar because it is a little bit less processed, so this makes your cookie a little bit healthier. And there are also some other variations with making these cookies. Some people like to add vanilla. I also like to add lots of ginger and cinnamon and other spices. And we'll get into those briefly as we go. I will also include a description attached to this video with all the ingredients and utensils that I will be using today to make these cookies. And normally what I do is mix all of my ingredients together in a bowl. Sometimes people like to do all the wet ingredients in one bowl and all the dry ingredients in another bowl and then combine everything together. So I think for today, I'm just gonna put everything into one bowl because I've been baking for so long now that I don't see the need to do it separately up front. And then once I make the batter, I will then roll it out, cut out my different designs, and we will bake them. So I hope you will stick around. I'll start with most of my wet ingredients, and I will add dry ingredients as I go. I'm gonna add an egg here. Here I am starting out with 1/4 cup of molasses, and then I will add more later if needed. I do find that This definitely helps give the cookie its dark color, so you don't need a lot of it. It goes a long way. And then I am going to melt my butter in the microwave to get it softer. While that's melting, I'm going to add some flour. I'm going to start with 1 cup of white flour. And 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I am also going to add a tablespoon of ginger and a tablespoon of cinnamon. Some people might prefer to only use a teaspoon, but I prefer to use a tablespoon because I like to get lots of flavor in the cookies. I often use my finger just to tap it down, and you don't have to as you get more experience baking. Now the butter is finished, so I will add that as well. So there's a mixture in here of a lot of wet and dry ingredients. I'm just going to use my spatula now to get everything well mixed together. And the great idea about having a variety of the wet and the dry all together is then as you're making the cookies, if you notice that it's too wet or too dry, you can continue to add other ingredients to adjust it as necessary. So I'm starting to see that it's still definitely on the wet side, and oftentimes with cookie batter, you don't want it overly sticky, so it's a good opportunity to add more flour to your mix. Some people like to use beaters to get the dough more homogeneously mixed, and this is definitely an option. I don't have any here with me today, so I'm just going to be using my spatula. However, it should not take very long to get everything well mixed together. And before I forget, I'm going to make sure I add some baking soda as well. And usually a teaspoon should be sufficient for this ingredient. Baking soda helps your cookies to rise so that they have a nice height and width. So I'm just going to make sure that I get that baking soda in there as well. Get everything really well mixed. I'll just show you what it looks like at the moment. And I'm now going to add some extra flour just to give it a little bit more of a drier consistency. I find it's always good to have some extra flour just measured out on the side, and that way it's just easy to add as you get closer to having your final dough. It's also nice to have extra flour put aside because you can put some on your countertop as you're going to lay out your dough to roll it out and to really unshut your cookies. So I'm just adding little bits of flour as I go, and sometimes you don't need to add egg right away because this will allow you to just taste your dough, and then you'll know if it's sweet enough or if it's missing a particular ingredient. I sometimes also like to add a little vanilla. I don't have any at the moment, but if I did, I'd add a little bit of that as well, probably a teaspoon. And I prefer to use the real vanilla extract as opposed to the artificial one. But again, it's all just based on personal preference, which type that you use. I'll just continue to add a little bit more flour. And when you use your hands just to play with the dough, you can see how it's very moist and it leaves your hands feeling a little bit oily. And therefore, I know that there's a need for more flour. So I'm going to add a little bit more. So that was an extra 1 cup. And then I'll just gently kind of knead it together with my fingers. Again, some people might like to add a little bit of cane sugar or perhaps maple syrup or another type of wet sugar. For me, I think if I was going to add any extra sugar, I would probably go with a bit of cane sugar, because I think for this consistency, the maple syrup would just make it too wet, where it's already on the wet side. Here I have a little cane sugar. And I will just add about half a cup for this. And the cane sugar does add a nice appearance. So I am going to lightly flour my countertop before I lay the dough out and start to roll it. And then I'll show you as well. So then I will transfer my dough onto the countertop. Make sure that you get all of it so that none of it goes to waste, to get a good ball before you start to really flatten it down into your proper thickness. So I will not taste this dough just because there is some raw egg in it. But like I said, if you don't have the egg put in until the end, it gives you the opportunity to taste it before, to know that you have the right sweetness. Since I've been making these cookies for a long time now, I'm pretty confident that these are going to taste just fine. And as we know, molasses is fairly sweet to begin with, so this will act as your main sweetener. So I think I have the majority of the flour kind of mixed in there. I will just use my rolling pin to roll out the batter. I can see here where some of the batter is sticking to the rolling pin. It means that the dough needs a little bit more flour. And just lightly sprinkle it on top. Flour is one of those ingredients you can never be too generous with. I find sometimes it takes a lot of flour to get to exactly the right consistency that you're looking for. I generally like a very thick cookie, so I tend to roll my dough not very far out to give it more of a thickness. Although some people like to have a thinner cookie and let it rise more, depending on the amount of baking powder and baking soda that you use. I didn't put baking powder in this particular cookie recipe, although it can be added depending on your personal interest. So I am just going to start by taking my pumpkin cookie cutter, design my first cookie. Just press it into the dough, give it a little bit of squeeze, and then when you lift it up, you'll see it makes a beautiful pumpkin shape. And I'll just bring the camera over here to show you exactly what that looks like. And then I'm going to put them on a baking sheet and let them refrigerate for a few hours before I bake them. So here with me, I have my baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and then I'm just gently gonna lift the cookie off of the countertop. And we have this beautiful pumpkin shape. And I will continue to do this for a whole tray of cookies. And it's that simple. Now I am making some maple leaf shaped cookies from the dough. So this is not a promotional video. I do think they're really nice quality though, because these cookie cutters come out very easily without very much effort. And it holds together fairly well. And then we will just transfer it onto our baking sheet with the rest of these cookies. As I mentioned, once we fill this tray, we're going to let these firm up in the fridge before we bake them. I put the cookies in the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 15 minutes, and you can see they rose quite a bit from the baking soda, and they look really good so far. I'm just going to put them back in the oven for probably another 10 minutes just to finish cooking through. Normally when I'm making cookies, I check them halfway through and just lightly press the top of one of them. If it bounces right back, usually they're done. This one stayed a little bit softer and didn't rise back up, so that's how I know it needs a little bit longer to cook. And now for my favorite part is taste testing our cookies. So here's one of our finished pumpkin cookies. As you can see, they're quite large. I call them jumbo cookies. And I just heated up some apple cider and I put a cinnamon stick in there in my pumpkin mug. So we will try a little bit of both. The cider is really nice. They're very good.